Think you know everything about radio? Think again. Explore Ride the Wave, a century of radio at the Museum of Broadcast Communications in downtown Chicago. For information and tickets, visit museum.tv.
Okay, so if the store has 10 potatoes, right, and you take away 2 of them, how many potatoes would the store have left?
Janine, what did I say about taking my potatoes from the lunchroom?
But visual learning is so much better.
Well, guess what? Now you have 0 potatoes.
I'm Janine Teagues. I've been teaching here at Abbott Elementary for a year now. The staff here is incredible. Finally feeling on top of things. Cheesesteak.
Cheesesteak!
This is a classroom, not a hoagie stand.
Hoagie!
We had it on the board. I know this school is rough, but we make do.
Looking for Miss Coleman?
Hello.
I'm the sub.
I thought one of my colleagues here hired a stripper for me.
Okay.
I'm teaching a lesson on gravity. There have been 3 presidents since this one. Here's where I taped in the others.
We do this because we're supposed to. It sure ain't the money.
I can make more work in the street. Easy.
We're gonna have a good day.
Hi, I'm David Decree from Sheryl Incorporated. We're a Chicagoland-based company who makes microphones, headphones, and wireless equipment that help produce great sound for TV shows like Abbott Elementary. Tonight, Sheryl is proud to support this wonderful program. On behalf of Sheryl Associates, I'd like to thank the teachers who have worked especially hard over the past couple of years. We also want to encourage students to keep learning, especially about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. You can have a great career in this area like I have, and we want to do more to increase diversity in these fields. I know tonight's program will help educate and inspire, and Sheryl is glad to be a part of it. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, I'm David Plyer, Chairman of the Board for the Museum of Broadcast Communications, located in downtown Chicago. Welcome to an evening with Sheryl Lee Ralph and Lisa Ann Walter, stars of the new hit ABC TV comedy, Abbott Elementary. Abbott Elementary is a workplace comedy that follows a group of teachers in a public elementary school, and despite the odds stacked against them, the teachers rely on each other to make it through the day and help their students succeed in life. Since its premiere, the ABC comedy has quadrupled its ratings while breathing new life into the TV mockumentary. We are thrilled that 2 of the stars of this program are joining us tonight. And I'm equally excited that my friend Hosea Sanders, a 17-time Emmy Award-winning broadcast journalist, program host, and entertainment reporter for ABC 7 Chicago, will be leading tonight's conversation. The Museum of Broadcast Communications is a national media center that inspires inquiry, respectful discussion, thoughtful examination, and a celebration of all forms of broadcast media. We educate, inform, and entertain the public through our archives, screenings, exhibits, publications, and public programs, just like the one you're about to experience. So without further ado, please welcome our host for the program, my friend, and a really nice guy, Mr. Hosea Sanders.
David, thank you so much for that. Welcome, everybody. I'm Hosea Sanders from ABC 7 Chicago. We are glad you're with us for what should be a fun evening, giving you a chance to get to know 2 of the actresses on the #1 comedy show on TV today. Now, if you are with us, you already know about the fictional Philadelphia school called Abbott Elementary. You may be quoting the lines, you may be cracking up at those side-eyed and classic looks, and you also may be living with some lessons from this groundbreaking show. We are delighted to be joined by these talented ladies to let them know how much we love what they're doing right now and what they've been doing in the past. So, everybody, please welcome our special guest tonight. First of all, here is Lisa Ann Walter, who plays Melissa Smithy. She's an actress, a comedian. She is a producer, show creator whose film career highlights include standout performances in the blockbuster film The Parent Trap, Shall We Dance, Bruce Almighty, War of the World, and she's a creator, executive producer, and head judge of Oxygen's hit dance weight loss competition series called Dance Your Ass Off. And she's author of the best-selling memoir, The Best Thing About My Ass Is That It Is Behind Me. Lisa, we're about to have a good time. Thank you, Lisa. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, Hosea. When you were listing those, thank you for that lovely intro. I always think of my mom who said after my book came out, do you have to have the word ass in everything you do? So apologies.
Let me introduce you to our other guest tonight. Everybody knows her. She is Sheryl Lee Ralph, and she plays Miss Barbara Howard, a woman of God, on the show. Mm-hmm. And she's an acclaimed stage, film, television actress. And her starring role as Dina Jones in Dreamgirls on Broadway earned her a Tony nomination. Other credits include Sister Act 2, The Distinguished Gentleman, Barbershop, Moesha, Rafe Donovan, and the list goes on and on and on. And I'm proud to say she is a friend of mine. Good to see you, Sheryl Lee.
Great to see you, Jose. Oh my God. It's like I just saw you yesterday. How about that?
It seems like it. Don't tell nobody. We are going to have a good time, ladies, tonight. First of all, I got to ask you this first question off the top. What is it like to be on a #1 hit show? I'll start with you, Lisa.
It's a blessing, first and foremost. Sheryl Lee and I, since the pilot, have been, talking to each other. We've developed a bit of a best friendship, sort of like we have on the show. And we both felt so comfortable with this cast and the chemistry that was clearly there. And we didn't want to jinx it, but we were like, this is meant to be. We are blessed. We're supposed to be doing this at this time in front of America. With these people that we're working with, the time is right. And so we felt very confident, but to have it actually have the response that we hoped for, and even more so, have people embrace us and understand the messages that we're sending through. I mean, obviously, Quinta Brunson's beautiful work with her writers, it's just beyond anything I could hope for. And I'm happier on this show than I have ever been doing anything in my career. I just pinch myself seriously every day.
Yeah.
How about you, Sheryl?
When she says it's a blessing, you'd have to feel what we get to feel working on this show and getting the responses that we get from people. Honest to God, Jose, sometimes I am so full of great emotion that when I talk about the show, I could just cry because I am so happy that I was given this gift. And it is truly a gift. And the hard part or interesting part for me is I prayed for it. I was on the set of another show and I was looking around and I was just watching and I said, dear God, just give me a show with some good people who want to do the work and then go home. Give me a show that's got something good to say that people can laugh at, learn from, and talk about. And God, while you're at it, could you please add some children? Because if you add some children, I know I'll go home early a few days. And God gave me that and more exactly a week later.
Yeah.
There are some great children out there.
She told me all of that the day after we finished shooting the pilot, and we talked about it before we heard about the pickup. And we had a conversation. I'll never forget. I was standing outside my dentist's office, and we got on the phone. She called me just as I was picking up the phone to call her, and we hadn't gotten word yet about the show. But she was like, "How you doing?" And I went, I'm not terrified. I feel really good. And she said the same thing that she just said here. We prayed for it and we got it and we get to share it with the country. It's beautiful.
Well, let's back up just a little bit and without going too deep, how did you each come to this project?
Well, Sheryl had a quicker road.
It's interesting because I don't know how everybody came to the show, but I had met Quinta I was doing another show called A Black Lady Sketch Show. And while I was doing the show, Quinta was spending a great deal of time doing what seemed to me to be observing me, right? And I was like, wow, this is so sweet. This girl is actually paying attention to me and my work. And 18 months later, I get a call and it's, Miss Ralph, this is Quinta Brunson. And I think she had gotten my number from one of my kids. And she said, I have a show and it is for you. And I know that you are used to people offering you things. And that is exactly the way it should be for you because that is who and what you are, Miss Ralph. But I would just like you to please just meet everybody and just read it. And then if we can all come back together again, I would really appreciate it. And I read it and I thought to myself, oh, wouldn't it be great to play the principal? Because the principal was a role nobody had seen me do something like that. And to play that kind of a role, it would be a great turn for me. And I said to Quinta, well, Quinta, what about my reading for the principal? And she said, absolutely not, Miss Ralph, absolutely not. We need a queen for this role, and you are that queen. Absolutely not. You are Mrs. Howard. And I was like, and there you have it. And that's how I came to the show.
I love it. I love it. I love it. What about you, Lisa?
Well, Quinta, as Sheryl alluded to, she had really clear ideas about what she wanted and who she wanted. And one of the things that I have to say off the bat is she is incredibly lovable, adorable, talented, gifted, and funny. All of those things that make for a TV star. But on top of that, and I had done this show, I created a sitcom for ABC, and I was nowhere near as good at the other part of what she does, which is being the executive producer, hands on everything, including casting and wardrobe and the look and the set design and. She knew the world she was building, and she got support from the studio and the network, and they gave her room to build it. So she's incredibly clear about how she sees the story going. And one of those ways was obviously the casting, which she knew she wanted Sheryl. She knew she wanted Tyler. There was a few of the others that went through a little more of the casting process, but she loved my work in The Parent Trap. And I knew what she told me was it was the warmth, that my character is very important for Melissa Chimenti to be that Weisenheimer, but also, and street and tough, but that she would kill for the people she loves. And
no, you only kill for Barbara. I'm sorry.
That's true. My family and Barbara. But it was very important for her to be surrounded in the cast and on our crew and everybody with kindness, because she's incredibly kind. So I think that she went to people that she thought she would work well with and who would work well with each other. The chemistry is magic, but she made it clear about how she put it together. So I was sent the audition. I looked at a script that said she's a teacher, she's Sicilian, and my mother, we're Sicilian on my mother's side, and she was a teacher in DC public school, very close to Philly. I mean, we're NFL rivals, but we're pretty close. So I said, it's like they tailor-made this part for me. And I didn't find out until after the fact at our premiere that they didn't bring anybody else to network. It was only me. So once she decided who she wanted, the rest of it was pretty straightforward. But that's
the rest is history. I got to find out how you ladies
the rest
prepare.
is television history. Right. And it's an amazing cast. I think it's probably one of the best ensembles on TV right now.
Just instant chemistry. When did you guys know that you really had something with this group of people?
I think it was from the day one. You know, chemistry is an interesting thing. It's like class. Either you have it or you don't have it. And when this company got together, we had something very special. You know, very often you sometimes have to make room for other people, or you have to stop, or you have to wait. There was none of that. Everybody brought their best self to work, and their best self worked. And it's been great. And I'm very proud to say, yeah, my boss is 32 years old and she's wonderful. Thank you.
My daughter's age, or just near, in between my daughter and my son. But you know what? Also on top of that, when you do, a lot of us came from a stage background, or we were on stage as part of our, whether it was stand up for Janelle and Quinta did some sketch stuff initially. My background was stage acting, and obviously Tony nominated Sheryl Lee Ralph. So we all came from a background of working, not sitting around and, oh, where's my 2 minutes of time on film? Yeah. You work as a stage actor, and you also build community with your cast. When you do television, and when I first came out here and did half hour, I said, you know, I always thought I would just be an actor in a reputable, like in a repertory company, like the Guthrie or Arena Stage. That's what I thought I'd do, surrounded by the same core group of actors. When you do TV, it's very much like that. You are surrounded by your core people, and then you have guest artists that come in and out. And I think because of our background of work, we were all really, really excited to play with each other, to get the other person's rhythm and find the way our characters worked with their rhythm. So in that way, it's been an acting dream, just a dream. I can't say enough about it.
So you guys are so realistic in these roles as teachers. How did you prepare for that? Is that innate? Is it something from your background? What did you do?
I think each one of us have a bit of the characters in us. Like you've heard, you know, some of the circles that are in Lisa's life, that are in her character's life. You know, I come from a family of lifelong learners, lifelong teachers, people who have dedicated themselves to their community, to their classrooms. So I know these characters very well. So preparation for them was really just leaning on life, just picking out and remembering stories from my dad and his different classes and students, you know, and there's always that particular student. For my dad, it was Eddie Murphy. He said, you know, the only one I really wanted to kill was Eddie. That was it. But, you know, everybody has something to share with you. And, you know, for me, Miss Howard is like my Auntie Carolyn. She's going to give you that tough love, but it is real love. And if she leans hard on you, it's because you've got great potential. It's somebody I knew. It's a way of loving that I knew. And all I had to do is just bring myself to it. But more than that, Quinta saw it. And she brought me to it. And Lisa just said it. This is the gift of a lifetime for an actor, to have a role that you fit in perfectly, a show that your role fits in perfectly, a cast that your role and you fit in perfectly. No problems. I mean, we've done 13 episodes, no problems. I'm telling you, I'm like, thank you, God. Oh, and that's just amazing.
It's not a guarantee because, you know, you have a lot of different egos. And I mean, look, hopefully we go 8 seasons and, you know, TMZ catches us outside of Craig's.
10 seasons, trash. 10,
at least. But I also think that when you do half hour, people invite you into their home. Yeah. People want to feel like they're comfortable with you. You are a regular. And some of the things that we read on social media it's so beautiful that people are saying, it's been difficult. You're getting me through. I look forward to Tuesday, whether they're teachers or, you know, everybody's got a kid or they were in school. So people across the board are saying, you are our family. We feel part of you. We're connected to them already. And I think partly that's because they see us. They see our heart. They see who we are. because we are so much a part of that person. Sheryl, you might have learned from your Auntie Carolyn, but you also are that person. I listen to her talk to her children. I listen to them talk to her. She is that person who is so loving, her smile that could light up a city when the kids are on the phone telling her something lovely and that she expects from them. She gives them that love, but she expects from them. And that's Barbara Howard. You would do anything for that teacher. We all have that teacher we remember that pushed us a little bit higher because they believed in us. And I think Melissa's just, she's going to get there with a little bit of a wisecrack and a little fun. But again, she can be an animal for those students. And I told Quinta this at the beginning. I said, you're brilliant because the world that we're in with these beautiful faces of these children, everybody in the country watching this supports whatever we have to do, whatever it is. You got to get them stuff that falls off a truck. That's what you got to do. You got to make a phone call and bake a ziti. That's what you got to do.
You got to pull off them earrings. You got to pull off them earrings and get ready to go. That's what you do.
You never know. Might have to go down.
So we have a question I want to get to from one of our viewers here. Said, if you could write a script and have your character do something that is out of character for them, what would that be? That comes from Kelly in Pennsylvania.
I think I want to have, and I know it will probably happen. Not so much that it would definitely be out of character for Mrs. Howard. It wouldn't be out of character for me, but I would like Mrs. Howard to direct the school play or the school musical or the school speech contest. And she turns into that Debbie Allen on Fame. Want fame? It starts here.
Before you start working for it in sweat.
So yes, you got us so wet. And then I love it because she's going to have to draft Lisa into it to do something. She's going to have to dance her behind off.
Oh,
yes.
See, there you go.
I like it. I'm down. I love that. That'll be fine. And that would work for Melissa. I think with Melissa, what's interesting is that we always see a tough veneer, almost always see a tough veneer. Mm-hmm. And then here and there's cracks in it. And you go, oh, okay, she's hiding some of that from everybody around her. I mean, there are people that you would never think that she would be warm towards, like Ava Coleman. Like, I don't see at this point Melissa being warm with Ava, but I would love a scene where they let their guard down around each other. They have some cocktails or they admit something, and that it's okay for tonight, the war's over, and it might start again tomorrow, but for tonight, I would love that. It'd be fun.
Man, those are two great episodes. I'd love that myself. Let me ask another question. This one comes from Willie in Chicago. It says, for Sheryl, we know you visit Chicago often. What is it about our city that you really love?
Wow. I love the people. I love the food. I love the community. I love the lake. I love the history. That DuSable alone just does so much for me. There's so much to love in Chicago. And I have a very dear friend. Jeannie is my good friend, and she lives in Chicago.
She's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart too. On top of that.
Can I fill in on that? Because I love Chicago.
I know you've done stand up here a lot, and you really know this city.
I did, and I also shot a movie there. So I was there one whole summer, which I wanted to move to Chicago after that summer, and people said, "Come back in the winter first, and then make a decision." But I'll tell you that I always said about Chicago that it's big city hip with Midwest nice. And the people were so welcoming and warm. It was the first city I went to where people routinely stopped me on the street and knew my name. Not just, hey, weren't you in the Parent Trap? But they said, Lisa, I was like, how do you know? Did we go to high school together? Like, I had no idea why people knew me. but I felt welcomed all over the city. We shot Dance Your Ass Off there, an audition week. And listen, the food is not to be just skipped over. That's a city where you feel like a girl feels like she can eat. And that is something I appreciate in a city. And not just like, let's see you eat, but you're never supposed to gain a pound. Like, I felt like the weight I was at was fine for these Midwest boys. Here, have another steak. You go to Lou Malnati's. I would move there for Lou Malnati's and Garrett popcorn alone.
The popcorn, yes. To the
We got them on speed dial. We got them on
and
speed
Millennial
dial.
Millennial Park, the Jazz Fest and all the stuff that goes down at the park. I had the time of my life, for real.
In the summertime.
Yeah, in the summertime.
I got a question here from Jessica. She says, what is it like, or how's it like to work with young children on the set? Because you guys have some talented young kids and they're so natural. I like, look, Helium. That was cool.
Helium. It's your name with an H. Helium. Oh my God. These kids are like, oh my gosh, they're really like little bundles of joy. They come to work eager to learn. They're like most children, they don't want to disappoint you. They're so wonderful. They're just so honest. I mean, and tell me if I'm wrong, Lisa, but we don't have outbursts. We don't have bad behavior. I've worked on other shows where that has been the case, but
with way less children. There's 4 children and somebody's going to act a fool. But I think
these
part of
kids
that
they are not like that. In fact, when we were shooting the pilot and there was a scene where the kids had to fight, we were all, and because Lisa and I were standing right next to each other, and these kids were like, no, fighting. There's no fighting. Who goes to school to fight? We don't fight. Why are we going to fight? And both she and I looked at each other and we were like, whoa, wait, what did you say?
Yeah.
No fighting.
What happens is we were in school.
Back in our day.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
But these kids
jumped in day one. But you know what? I also think that they respond to what they have with the not just their teachers on set who are all great, but they sort of confuse who's a teacher, like a set teacher, and who's their teacher that's an actress. They don't think of it as an actor. They think that's my teacher. And the way that Sheryl talks to them, and Janelle, which is very like, hey, come down off that. Nope, let's go. And then they respond. And Quinta, who's not a parent, I have 4 kids that I know of. And those of us with children are used to wrangling. But even the ones who don't have kids have like really figured it out. Quinta's like, nope, this is what we're going to do. Come on. We don't have time for that. And then they get it together. They're adorable.
Well, you guys talk about the cast.
It was a love affair, right, Sheryl? When we did, all right, I'm not going to say it. 2 of our kids had a little love affair with each other, and the boy brought the little girl flowers. It's not part of the story. He honestly fell in love with her. It was a whole thing. And then the whole class got involved and there was gossip. It was a mess.
See, don't bust them out, though. Don't bust them out, Lisa. Yeah. You guys talk about what a great cast you have. We got a surprise for you. Hope you don't mind. Somebody is here joining us who knows you. And let's see who it is. I think it is Abbott Elementary co-star Chris Perfetti. Chris, you with us?
Oh!
Y'all know him as Jacob or Jake. Anyway, he started a regular series. He's on Abbott. He has appeared on HBO's Looking and the Emmy-winning limited series The Night Of, CW's In the Dark, Fox The Resident, series regular on Crossbones, a lot of theater credits, 6 Degrees of Separation, Picnic, and he's making his Chicago stage debut next month in Steppenwolf Theater world premiere of King James, which begins performances March 3rd right here in Chicago. Chris, so good to have you with us. What you got to say to these ladies?
Jose, what? Thank you. That is so sweet. I feel like you just made half of those credits up, but I will pretend that they are that they are real. I'm so happy to be with you. I heard that my beautiful friends were going to be hanging out and talking to you and the wonderful people of Chicago. So I just couldn't let that go by without, coming in and saying hi.
Did you see how I posted you on Instagram today, Chris?
Sheryl, my phone has been on Do Not Disturb for like 72 hours, but I cannot wait to see whatever that is because you have an iconic social media presence and everything you post is
She has really got the social media game to end them all. Like even the young kids are like.
Talk to us about bonding. You guys have really gelled really quickly, and these characters, I mean, they have really caught on. It's because of what you bring to the role. Talk to me about that.
First of all, we really like each other. I mean, Chris is Chris is very brand new in some ways to this whole thing, but he brings himself with his honesty, and he's wonderful to work with. I mean, it's, sometimes you have to kind of like make things work with people.
Yep.
But I didn't have to make anything work with him. And for me, it was a lovely character progression to see us working together at the school. So, and it was just like that, and I enjoy it, and he's great to work with.
It's also, I know where you want to ask him, but I have to love him up for a second too. And I told him this since the pilot. The character that he plays in Someone Else's Hands might have been a very specific trope that we're used to seeing. And his nuance that I love watching him work. I love watching him create. It is him and Tyler, both of them have silent moments and beats that they switch up within the shooting of the scene that they'll do it. And that's a testament. I was talking earlier, Chris, about stage acting. That's a testament to him as a true actor, as a stage actor. He's creating in the moment. And it's coming from truth, and it might change when he's doing it in terms of how we're playing it or how he feels, but it's truthful and it's nuanced and it's beautiful. And I get blown away watching him work. Really, he's amazing.
I am so glad I stopped by.
It's good for your ego.
Wow. Well, it was great to see you guys. No, I feel the exact same way. Look, I feel like I'm largely the experience of being on set is already an extremely anxiety-provoking thing, but I go to work with the best in the business, and I go to work with real professionals who it's very easy to learn from and be obsessed with. And I think part of the success of our show is that, to address what you were asking, Jose, is like Quinta has really created a very interesting sort of like six-headed amoeba of six very different people who not only are different characters, but six actors who come from really different parts of our biz, and it's a real sort of ragtag group of people, but it makes a really great family. And yeah, I mean, everybody thinks that they have the best cast, but I really have the best cast. And so, and I'm sure
you all have individual moments too that are just really golden. Want to do a quick question from Wally. He says, not asking for any spoilers, but have you gotten hints from Quinta as to where the characters may be heading kind of down the road?
No.
Quinta is very awesome. She'll say, Quinta will say little things once a story has sort of been decided. She'll kind of go, I got this idea. It might be coming up a little bit. Maybe it'll come up. I don't know. We don't know for sure, but maybe it'll come up, and she'll drop little hints like that. But what's really amazing about this show, and she promised, remember we talked about this, Sheryl? She promised us, she was like, wait, you're going to get this moment. Just wait. It's coming.
I told you, yes.
And even if you're feeling like, oh, my character looks so, I've got a lot of this thing, or I'm not showing this part of me. She's like, wait for it. I mean, not that we're sitting around complaining, but okay. So just recently, the Barbara and Jacob character, Sheryl and Chris, had a whole moment. They had a whole come together that you had never seen before. And it was beautiful. And the audience, over gardening. And the audiences love it because they're like, oh my God, like I never saw, that's the friendship I never knew I needed, and then they so get into it. So I think all of the pieces that we have, if they haven't happened yet, they will at some point, all those different configurations. Anyway, nothing specific.
Let's slide another question in here real quick while we got you guys from Jarita. Where did Quinta get the inspiration from for that crazy principal Ava? Is it somebody that you all know that's kind of like that for real?
Honey, you got to be in Philadelphia. It's a Philly thing. And, that Ava is quite a hustler, baby. Trust me, there are one or two trolling around right now.
It's not as bad. People, I think at the beginning got very, some people said, yeah, but is that what administrators look like? And so many people from not just the education world, from all, kinds of businesses have that boss who's all about their own, self-aggrandizement. They're there to take all the credit, move themselves up any way they can. And the truth is that Janelle James' portrayal of that character is so joyful. It is so good. Watchable and fun.
So good.
That she you think, oh my God, is that character? She can't help but be likable because she doesn't have any shame about it. She's just like, yeah, that's right. What?
She is and she is. She is and she is. Love
Great character.
Here's a quick question for, I'm going to ask this one because it's really, I think something that we all want to talk about and congratulate her for. Sheryl, you had a producing credit on Thoughts of a Colored Man. Do you have any more theater projects in the works? Love to see you back on stage. Is what people are saying. This is coming from Emily in New York. I know you were really proud of that production, and your castmates were proud of you as well for that.
Something, it was amazing to me that I came back to Broadway 40 years later after the debut of Dreamgirls on Broadway. And to that anniversary, here I am, a Broadway producer on Thoughts of a Colored Man. It was a wonderful production. We did much better than anybody thought we could possibly do in the time of Corona. And it was really wonderful to see that cast of young men just reach new heights on the stage. And I loved it. I enjoyed it. Right now, I'm concentrating on doing Abbott Elementary. There's another production coming up soon about redoing of For Thoughts of Colored Girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is not enough. We'll see what happens with that. But right now I'm focusing on this, keeping myself on TV. I don't know how soon it is that I'll come back to the stage, but this moment you say that is the moment it happens.
Ain't that the truth? I always tell people, and I told you, because we've been friends for a while, Dreamgirls was my first Broadway show that I came from the South to see. And who knew that later on in life we'd be friends? That's just how the Lord works, isn't it?
That's it. So amen. Good. Amen.
Now, Chris, people want to know, especially Sheryl, a woman named Sheryl, in our audience wants to know, what was it like to work with chickens and snakes?
Sheryl, you asked this question. You submitted a question to your own interview. Cheryl, I'm so sorry to disappoint you, but the snakes on our show were CGI. They were digitally reproduced. So no snakes, and especially no baby snakes, were harmed in the production of Abbott Elementary. The chicks were real. The chicks were real and very cute. And my class would take the time in between setups of filming to name them. And we would vote on, we had a very democratic process over which names would succeed. I don't remember any of the names, but I do know that none of them were a name I had ever heard of before. But they were so cute. Love working with animals. No spoilers, but it won't be the last time you see cute animals in our show.
Well, we are so glad that you stopped by to say hello and sneak in here, give a little love to your girls here today. We know you gotta go, but we want to say thank you to Chris. We look forward to seeing you as Jacob, and we also look forward to seeing you here in Chicago at Steppenwolf. We can't wait for that. March 3rd is when you open, right?
Cheryl, Lisa, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, you will.
Chris, I want to play Rummy Cube with you. Okay, over the phone.
What makes a hit show to you guys? What do you think? I mean, you know, in terms of ratings, and you guys love each other, but there are some shows that become legacies. There are some shows that you may not have worked on for that long a period of time, but you enjoyed them and they were hits in your heart. What makes a hit to you?
I would say it's the way the show hits the hearts of the audience. I believe it has everything to do with the alchemy that comes together when you start to put that producer together, that director together, that cast together, that script together, the production values placed upon all of those things that can make a hit show. And I am so thankful to be on yet another hit show. And this one is by far the most meaningful. I'm very happy. And it is a hit.
It is a hit, a bona fide hit. I remember when we first talked about the show, only the pilot had aired, I think. And you two sat right here in my little corner right here and told me, wait, because it's going to get better. You have not seen this show, and you were so right. I mean, this thing is blown up, and just when you think it can't get any better, it does. It does.
Every Tuesday night, it gets better and better and better. And the fact, Jose, that you just said that, you have no idea how often we hear that from people. They keep thinking, oh, it's gonna go down soon, or I like this one better. And
then they'll find that thing that I was just talking about, a new relationship between two characters that hadn't been explored yet. And this is all, by the way, it's not an accident. It's not like they're sitting around and Quinta says, let's have some jokes between these two. This is all planned out. This is purposeful. Right. She is a brilliant story creator. So the story that I know that when she sat down in her meeting with the network, and she would come to me and say, they approved the stories, not just to me, but I mean, we would talk sometimes about how things get with the network because, again, I had done that. And she was like, they didn't tell me no, like they said, okay. So part of it is the brilliance of the support that she is getting from the production side. She had to pitch it first. She had to say, I know this story. I know this world. And then she delivered. She had that whole season mapped out and probably what's going to happen
mapped out.
Right. And then they were smart enough to go, she has a vision. It's clear. Let's support her. Let's support this young woman of color who knows this world and these characters and has figured it out. So her doing what she's doing, none of it's an accident. It's all planned. I mean, some of it is kismet. Some of it is moments that we find here and there. But the bigger picture, that's Quinta.
You bring up such an important point too, representation of people, of cultures. Everybody's represented and every culture is respected in this show as well. You're giving honor to everybody and where they come from and showing that their pride in their backgrounds and their stories and their families.
Yeah.
I mean, when Lisa says that Quinta literally thought this out, there's something called a show Bible. And in going to pitch this show, in going to share these ideas with the network, she has so thought out everything. And then you have the support of a skilled writer's room and a very skilled and diverse writer's room, that there is room for stories to be told and voices to be heard. It is not just one set of people writing for what they think other people might say. It's the actual voice and the person in the room writing. And I talk about alchemy, I talk about magic, because that's exactly what it is.
And they came up with a really good team that luckily, again, supported Quinta and her voice. Patrick Shoemaker and Justin Halpern, who are the other executive producers, helped to put together what was, the first episode, and they helped, figure out the writing tone of all the episodes. But she is the voice. And the brilliance of it is they support her voice. They're not trying to change it, but she's also open. She'll say, well, how do I get there? This is kind of what I see. What are my options? And then she always says this about herself. I'm smart enough to know I'm new at this. So I'm going to listen. And then if they have a great idea, great, I'll do it. But if it's still not what I want to do, I'll say, no, I still want to do that. And Randall Einhorn, who directed more of our episodes than anybody else, is an executive producer. And he helped create the look of The Office. He was an action shooter, cameraman, producer, who The Office brought in to create that look of movement and action documentary style. And he's ours now. So the success that The Office had, and the reason people love it and love those reaction shots, is because he and his team are watching what we're doing, not just what's in the script, but how we're reacting to what's being said. And that's why you pick up all those extra comedy beats that you might not have in other
nuances
shows.
And everything. That is so cool. But speaking of that, how do you guys keep from just cracking up and ruining the take, or do you just leave it in there? Because it's just, I would not be able to get through some of these lines and reacting to some of this stuff that's happening.
Oh, sometimes we do crack up. Sometimes we do laugh.
Oh,
but those
I can't blow the line. I can't blow the line.
Keep moving.
Yeah, there was a line that Sheryl had that they kept changing every time she walked in the room. It was a different version of that line. I'm not going to say it, but I promise you, we were all keeping ourselves from peeing. We were like just sitting there like this, and we couldn't. And sometimes people just broke. So people just broke because it was so funny every time she came in with a different version of the line. But usually,
so can you ad-lib? Are you allowed to ad-lib a little bit, or is it so structured?
Yeah. Well, it's different kind of ad-libs. It's all definitely all structured. I think it might have been last week's episode where I was singing, Jake has 2 turkeys, he has 2 more. How many turkeys does Jake have? That was all
supposed to go, he has 4.
He has 4. That was all ad-libbed. I just,
nice.
I got in front of the camera, and all of a sudden I was just like, no, have fun with it, sing it, dances. So I just came up with that. So that was completely ad-lib.
And I think some of my little Sicilian slang, I'll ad-lib because, I'm the one who knows it in our world. So I'll come up with a word, and as long as it's not dirty, sometimes it'll stay in. But for the most part, we always do what the scripted version is. And then, just like on any other show, they'll come in with alternates and say, hey, try this, or they'll say something and we'll play around with it. What about if I said that? How about this? Da-da-da. Okay, try those 2. Let's go again. And then we'll try some extra lines. But sometimes there's ad libs or we'll say something that's extra in the scene. And if it's with Quinta, she'll be like, oh, that was good. Keep that. Do that again.
It's interesting because I'm listening to this, and this is probably one of the very first times in my whole career I have absolutely been confident with what was on the page.
There you go.
Yeah.
I have not really had to go into any long discussions about what is my motivation or why would she say that or she wouldn't say that. It's honestly one of the very first times I'm absolutely trusting of what's on the page.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, Hosea. You'd be surprised at some of the projects where you look at it and go, why did my character change from, last week she was this and now she's this, and what happens? I mean, they did that at the end of Game of Thrones, that all of a sudden these characters, all the female characters that we grew to love were completely different people. I'm like, why is Brienne of Tarth crying in a courtyard in a bathrobe? Who's that lady? They had no female writers that season. That's why. All right, moving on. Abbott Elementary, go ahead.
It's a little time that we have left. It's been a blessing really to talk to you guys. But I want you to, each one, what do you have to say to the fans who are here for this and for you and the support that they've given to the show and to you guys so far? And I will start with you, Sheryl.
I just want to say thank you to our fans. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching the show, and especially all the teachers out there who are doing the heavy lifting and the hard work. I hope that you feel that you are being seen, and I hope that you know that none of us are making fun of you, but we are using what you are going through to shine some light on what needs to be shown. You deserve more time, more attention, more money, more respect, more support. So to all of our fans, to all of the teachers, just keep on watching, baby, because Abbott Elementary and Mrs. Howard, I'm there for you.
All right now, come on, Lisa, bring it.
One of the things that got us through the lockdown period, for me anyway, and I know it's true because I heard from so many people, was watching Ted Lasso. It was a beautiful show. It had a beautiful message. It was funny, and people felt inspired. And the reason I knew about it, because who had Apple TV? Nobody. The reason I knew about it was people talked about it. And I think that part of the reason that this show has taken off like it has, besides the fact that it's great and it's funny and we have chemistry and all the things we've been talking about, and I'm very proud of it. So I'm not going to be like, oh, it's okay. It's great. But people are telling each other about it because it's hard to break through the noise of all the things there are to watch. How many people are like, well, another show? I got to watch Inventing Anna now? I got 16 shows I got to watch. And we never felt like we had to fight for this because people were telling each other, not just Black Twitter, which, by the way, I've become an honorary adopted auntie. I'm extremely excited. I'm very honored.
There you have it, girl. There you have it.
Right. But it's everybody talking about it to each other. And one of the most beautiful things that was said was when Quinta went on Jimmy Kimmel and they surprised her with her teacher, with
Mrs. Abbott,
right? From 6th grade. Somebody on social media said, you never know. Now I'm going to cry. You never know as a 6th grader or as a teacher, which 6th grader you are going to inspire to write a TV show someday. And I think that is the most telling message to our fans and everybody who has loved this show, that we so honor our teachers. If you have a teacher that you loved, you don't have to write a TV show about them. Reach out, contact them, tell them that you appreciate them. Because as Mrs. Barbara Howard said, it show ain't the money. They do that job because they are true believers. They love it and it's meaningful. So show them appreciation any way you can. On behalf of my mother's memory and all the teachers that we have loved, show them love and respect, please.
All right. Yay!
That's the way to end it. Well, we love and respect you. We love what you're doing. We love you for doing this for us. Thank you so much. We're such fans of yours, and keep on doing the good stuff you're doing, okay?
Mwah!